So there's two things I would point out. One is that you have a pretty shallow takeaway. Now what that means is at this point in your swing, when the club is parallel to the ground, your club head is way back here and your hands are about here. So I'm just going to compare you really quick. So here's Patrick Cantlay. You can see on the takeaway, the hands and the club pretty much line up. It doesn't need to be exactly there. Sometimes a little in front, a little behind, but yours are like the equivalent of being like back here, right? Let me see if I can find somebody else. Okay, here's Tommy Fleetwood. You can see, same idea, the club is over here. Now the big difference, it's a little bit hard to see from yours. So this often happens because this arm here gets a little bent at this point in the backswing. And these pros tend to keep it a little more straight. Like Tommy Fleetwood here has a little bit of bend, but it's a little hard to tell from yours. It might just be that your wrists are just more bent. It might be your arms. So you have a little bit of space right there. You see that space between your arm and your body? A lot of people who have your kind of takeaway, their left arm here will be like really tight against their body, right? And that's why the club ends up being very far this way, very far to the left. Yours are not that close to your body. And like if you look at Tommy Fleetwood here, like you see the arms are kind of away from the body there, right there. And so yours are kind of like that. It's not super to the left. I think it might be your wrists and kind of your arms are just rolling this way. So however you want to try to fix it, I don't necessarily think there's a terribly wrong way to fix it. You just want that club head to be more around here, because what happens is your hands go to like, the club goes like back to about here. And now if you look at your plane, well, this isn't really the plane, but the angle of your shaft, it's very flat. You should have it kind of pointed at the ball. So what happens the rest of the swing is that your hands pretty much just go up. You see they just go from here to like there. They're going like vertical because you need to keep going and you can't keep spinning around this part of your body. It would just be very awkward physically. So they just kind of have to go up. So what normally would happen with a more neutral swing is the hands would just kind of continuously go this way, right? Yours kind of go like this and then up. And that just makes it harder to come back on plane. And you do actually drop your hands there. You see your hands come down. So you're doing that to avoid going over the top, which is good. And on the way down, you actually have a decent plane there. The shaft is pointed pretty much right at the ball, which is what you want. So I think getting your backswing more on plane with the downswing will help make it even easier to get on the downswing. And it might actually affect the second issue that I'm going to talk about in a second. So to fix this, try to get the clubs there. Try to get, the other thing you want to make sure is that this arm is pretty much exactly where it is, covering this right shoulder. So, if as you start adjusting the swing, maybe you start taking away more like this way instead of this way. The feel could be more like take it way behind you. As you do that, you want to avoid then going too high on the backswing and ending up with an arm like way up here, if that makes sense. So just make sure you're still hitting this point at the top, but the way you get there could just be more efficient. So then the other thing, it has to do with early extension. Now, early extension is usually when people stand up as they impact the ball, like right as they impact the ball. As you can see, there's a line on your butt, and I'm actually going to draw another one on your spine. You'll see that you stand up at the top of your backswing. So you're already away from the wall, and your spine has already gone like more like this angled. So if I just play it kind of in slow motion, you see you stand up and you come down. I can draw another line on top of your head. That's not exactly the top of your head, but you'll see you go up and then back down. And so you want to maintain that spine angle and the butt there throughout the entire backswing. And your takeaway, having a different kind of takeaway might affect that, because maybe now by going around this way versus, more this way, maybe it's forcing this left hip to kind of come forward because you're doing too much of a twist. So it could be possible that the takeaway could affect this. But if not, I would just make sure that I'm keeping that butt back, and the spine angle where it was on the backswing. Because then as you come down, you'll see you kind of just stay that distance away from the ball, from the line. For a lot of people with early extension, they'll stay on the line, and then like right about here, including myself, this is a problem that I have. Around there, they come off the line. You're kind of already off the line at the top, so if you were to stay on the line, it might actually be able to stay there throughout the rest of the swing. Yeah, a good way to think about it is instead of when you turn, because you are turning, your hips are facing the camera right now, right? This left hip is coming out, and a better way to think of it is just leave that left hip right there and the right hip twist back. And so you're still going to twist your hips towards the camera, but think about it more like pivoting around the other way, if that makes sense. So those two things may go together, but I would focus on the takeaway and then just focus on keeping that posture into the backswing.